Many opticals think that when you change the retail pricing or the markup, that you have to change the pricing of all of your inventory. Nope, you do not. Hello, and thank you for reading my article in this month's Invision Magazine. When you're able to clean house in your optical and identify which brands are your great performers and the real standouts, this will allow for you to make room and get rid of the brands that are just not performing. And that's the problem. So many times in optical, we let those poor performers just linger about without doing anything about them. This cleaning house will allow for you to make great decisions on increasing your profitability. And this is why you scan the QR code. Many opticals really get stuck here when it comes to this idea of increasing profitability beyond their markup that they created. And let's be honest, that markup you created is arbitrary. It really is. I can get a room of 20 practice owners and ask them what their markup is, and I will probably get about 15 different answers. No joke. Some are 2.5, some are 2.5 plus $30, some are 2.75, some are 2.75 plus $20 on these ones and plus $10 on these ones. Some are 3, some are 3.25, some are 4. I know, it's kind of crazy. See what I mean by it being arbitrary? So why do we get stuck on not wanting to increase beyond that markup? This idea of increasing price, however, is a typical adaptation in regular retail scenarios for every other industry. But for some reason, adapting the retail price when it comes to the optical is a bit of a struggle for a lot of optical leadership. Now, making the decision to increase retail pricing will, of course, increase the profitability of those frames. Now, many opticals are leery of increasing prices because of the concern that if you increase the pricing, it could ultimately decrease the sales. And I mean, we already have enough patients and customers griping about our high prices, right? Why would we want to possibly make that worse? Well, many opticals think that when you change the retail pricing or the markup, that you have to change the pricing of all of your inventory. Nope, you do not. For the love of all things holy, do not do that. Of course, if you increase the pricing on all of the brands, you're going to get backlash. Of course. Now, others might think, well, I wouldn't change the overall markup for all of the frames, but I would change the markup by brand, right? So certain brands would have a different markup than other brands. Okay, some of you are already doing this with your ophthalmic markup and your sunglass markup. So if you're doing it by brand, this is a bit more understandable because you're not doing all of your inventory, but the most ideal method of increasing pricing is not on the inventory level, nor on the brand level. The ideal proven method that we have with our Spexy members is to look at your top performing styles within each brand and increase the retail price of only the very top performers. Now, these top performers within each brand are what we here at Spexy call the A-style frames. Identifying your A styles and your B styles will allow for you to separate your top performing styles from your more stagnant styles. The reality is that the ratio is about 75% of your sales of each brand will come from these particular A styles. Interesting, right? So if you can identify what these A styles are, it will allow for you to make a few great changes to how your inventory can be optimized. Spexy Plus Premium members have access to proven methods that allow them to make a multitude of adaptations to these A styles within each of their brands. So if you're not a Spexy member yet, become a Spexy member. The adaptation that we're going to focus on here, though, in this video, is increasing the profitability of those A styles. Now, the thing to remember when increasing the price, whether it be of an entire brand or of the A styles like we most often recommend, either way, there are two key factors that you want to pay attention to. Number one, the price increase, and number two, the timeline that it will be monitored. You have to monitor it, okay? So let's talk first about the price increase itself. Most opticals can make a price increase of a particular A style of about $20 to $30 without any alarm from the patient or customer. The great thing about increasing the price of your A styles is that this increase is only on the styles that have proven themselves to be great sellers in your office, which is why they're the A styles. Therefore, this is a huge opportunity for you to be able to go about raising the price of those particular A styles, making it less likely for the price increase to be scoffed at because the value will be easier to rationalize on the frames that are really liked by your patients and customers. Second, let's talk about the timeline. Anytime you go about increasing the price of anything in your optical, you need to closely monitor it for 3 months. We recommend 3 months because everything in the optical world is so cyclical. And usually it takes about 3 months for us to hit another one of our optometry peaks that we have. And we have those dips there too. Every single month after a price increase, I want you to pull a sales report and make sure that the sales have not dropped significantly since your price increase. You want to monitor this every month. And at the 3-month mark, you will notice that there has either been a decrease in sales, an increase in sales, or that the sales have remained the same. If the sales have decreased, then you can go about dialing back that cost that you raised. Do I think that you should go back to the original cost? Absolutely not. Don't do that. If you are seeing a decline in sales, then you can dial it back. So let's say that you had a $30 price increase of that style, then maybe let's go ahead and dial it back to $20 and see if those numbers come back up. Now, let's talk about those situations for the other two, where it's either selling like crazy, because sometimes it will sell more because it's in a higher price point, believe it or not, or the sales quantities have remained the same as what they were before the price increase of that A style. Well, guess what? You have a decision to make. You can go about maintaining the same pricing, or if it's increasing or if it's really staying stable and really nice, you can raise it again. Yeah, we've seen it happen where certain styles can be raised 60, 70, 100. My favorite is when it went $150 above what it was normally selling for, and it was still selling. So to recap, for those of you who are Spexy Plus Premium members, you are already well versed in the necessity of identifying your A styles. When you are increasing the profitability of these A styles, you are going to increase the price about $15 to $30, depending on where the price is currently sitting. And second, you're going to make sure and monitor that change closely for 3 months before changing anything else. All right? I look forward to hearing how great and much more profitable your optical is. And I want to thank you for joining me and reading my article in this month's Invision Magazine. I look forward to seeing you next month. Until then, be Spexy.